This video will describe how to use and clean a volumetric pipette. A volumetric pipette is commonly used in laboratories to dispense a specific volume with high precision and accuracy. A volumetric pipette delivers only one sample volume. The volume is stamped on the barrel of the pipette. For example, this pipette stamped with a 5 dispenses 5 milliliters, and this pipette stamped with a 20 dispenses 20 milliliters. A single line on the stem of the pipette indicates the level at which to draw the liquid. A volumetric pipette is calibrated at a specific temperature to deliver the specific volume. This information is stamped at the top of the pipette. This pipette says TD (EX) at 20 degrees Celsius plus or minus 0.01. TD means to deliver and EX means expel. This pipette was calibrated to deliver 5 milliliters at 20 degrees Celsius with an accuracy of plus or minus 0.01 milliliters. This means that if used correctly, the pipette will deliver a volume within the range of 4.99 to 5.01 milliliters. When recording the volume to the correct number of significant figures, we would record 5.00 milliliters, which is 3 significant figures. The pipette marked 25 milliliters will dispense 25 milliliters at 20 degrees Celsius with a tolerance of plus or minus 0.03 mils. To prepare for pipetting, make sure that enough solution, at least a volume to dispense plus a few extra milliliters, is in the beaker. To ensure good workflow, place the receiving vessel ready by the vessel containing the solution. Make sure that the pipette and the receiving vessel is clean. Hold the volumetric pipette securely near the top of the pipette with one hand, with the index finger free to place on the top of the pipette stem. We will be using a rubber safety bulb to draw up liquid into the pipette. Before placing on the pipette, squeeze the pipette bulb using the other hand. While squeezing the pipette bulb, gently place it over the pipette stem. The pipette bulb will be easily removed from the top of the pipette. Do not jam the pipette bulb onto the pipette, or it might break. Place the pipette tip into the solution. Slowly release the pressure on the pipette bulb to fill the pipette. Filling the pipette can be slowed by placing the pipette tip on the bottom of the vessel. Fill the pipette to above the calibration mark. Remove the pipette bulb and immediately cover the pipette stem with your index finger. Lift the pipette above the surface of the solution. Remove the index finger so that the liquid is released from the pipette until the bottom of the meniscus sits on top of the calibration line. Quickly place the index finger on the pipette stem. Make sure to look at the meniscus at eye level. Touch the pipette tip to the side of the beaker to remove the hanging drop. Move the pipette over to the receiving vessel. Remove the index finger from the pipette stem and allow the liquid to freely drain from the pipette until all of the liquid is dispensed. Touch the pipette to the side of the beaker to remove the hanging drop. The pipette is calibrated to retain a small amount of liquid. Never blow out the remaining liquid. Let's show one more time using a larger pipette. Hold the pipette firmly in one hand with the index finger ready to cover the top of the pipette to stop flow. Squeeze the pipette bulb. Place gently on the pipette. Place the pipette into the solution and release pressure off the pipette bulb to draw liquid into the pipette. If the pipette is not filled to the calibration line after all of the pressure is released off the pipette bulb, remove the pipette bulb from the pipette, place the index finger over the pipette, squeeze the pipette bulb, remove the index finger, replace the pipette bulb gently on top of the pipette, and slowly release pressure from the bulb until the pipette is filled above the calibration line. Lift the pipette out of the solution. Release the liquid from the pipette until the bottom of the meniscus sits on top of the calibration line. Place the index finger over the pipette. Remove the hanging drop. Place the pipette over the receiving vessel. Release the solution and touch the pipette to the side of the vessel to remove the hanging drop. When changing solutions, it is important to rinse the pipette with the new solution. Dry the outside of the pipette using a paper towel. Using the pipette bulb, draw up some of the new solution until the bulb of the pipette is partly filled. Remove the pipette bulb and immediately place the index finger on top of the pipette to stop flow. Remove the pipette from the solution. Turn the pipette horizontally and roll the pipette to let the solution cover the inside of the pipette. Dispense the solution into a waste beaker. Repeat this step once more. At the end of the laboratory, a similar procedure should be used to clean the pipette with soap and water, followed by rinsing 3 times with deionized water. If liquid gets into the pipette bulb while pipetting, rinse the pipette bulb with deionized water. Tap gently on a paper towel to remove water. Squeeze the pipette bulb several times to air dry.